This is really exciting to be up here today. Well, just good afternoon to each of the graduates, first off, the parents and the faculty. It is truly an honor to have the opportunity to come and to speak to each and every one of you today. As a Henryville High School graduate of 2011, like Bill talked about, these hallways and this room, this atmosphere, and the things you're experiencing, they are so familiar to me. I remember the feeling of anxiety and the overwhelming sense of accomplishment as I sat in your place today. I recall my mind racing back and forth, trying to plan out the day's ceremonies and the times of the graduation parties that were to follow, and just fumbling around with this little square hat that never seemed to stay on my head quite right throughout the day. I felt at this moment in 2011 that I had my life pretty planned out. I was going to graduate, I was going to go to college at U of L, live in the dorms, pursue a degree in business management, graduate again, find a nice woman, get married, and live happily ever after. Sounds about right. Nice plan. But I'll tell you the truth. The one thing that I was not planning on was being able to come back here and to speak to you as a baccalaureate today. Believe me, it is not in my plan to be standing here today speaking to each of you, but rather it was God's. With graduation, there is a joy of having completed so many of your planned goals. You have finished so much of what you set out to do, but yet in a very real sense, you are experiencing the end of one season and are now beginning another. Perhaps even with a bit of apprehension as you look ahead to what lies before you. Today you stand on the edge of a new experience. You stand looking out onto a world trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together and make sense of it all. See, what most of us miss when looking at all the pieces is who created the puzzle in the first place. The one who has been at work since the beginning, and it was and is God, the Creator. For each of us here in this room today, we need to recognize that it was God in the beginning, not us. Genesis 1:1-5 says that in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness covered the surface of the watery depths, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. God saw the light, and it was good. And God separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and He called the darkness night. Evening came, and then the morning. The first day. The first day. From the beginning, God has been at work. From absolutely nothing and out of nothing, God began and planned and created everything that there is. Since the first stroke of time, He has been at work to accomplish His divine purpose. Not your purpose, not my purpose, His purpose. See, it took me to the end of my senior year. It took me sitting in your seat today to realize that there was a God that had it all figured out. I had lived my life way outside of God's plan. My time then was spent on building up my kingdom. It was spent on having people look at me rather than having people look through me and see Jesus. But see, my life changed when I stopped trying to plan out what the finished puzzle would look like. And I made the choice to let God, the Creator, the one that knows me best, show me what the true picture looks like. It was then that I could look and see where God had been at work all along. It was then that I could see the places that He had been trying to show Himself to me, but I was looking in the other direction. When you come to that reality, you can look around and you can see God at work in your homes, in your schools, within your relationships, and within everything that you do. By knowing this, we can recognize that He fully understands the purposes and the meanings of every part of our life. We know that God, the Creator, knows how each of the puzzle pieces fit together to make up our lives. He knows and has seen the big picture and how each day's decision fits with the next. So on a day such as this, when anxiety is high and stress is upon you, do not think of that weight of the puzzle sitting on your shoulders, but rather look up to the Creator of the picture, for help. the one who has been at work within you from the very beginning. The reality is you're going to have some choices to make. You're going to have to face some challenges. They'll begin as you walk across the graduation stage today and try not to trip over your gown and fall on your face. And you'll continue those challenges into college, into your working years. You'll pick a major or 4 before you're done. You might prepare for a career that might be changed a number of times in your future. But through all of that, remember that there is a God who has it all figured out. See, not only is He the God of ultimate wisdom, but He is the God who wants to desperately have a relationship with you. But it is up to you and I to make a conscious decision every morning when the sun comes up to seek God out. He is right here. But it is up to us to see where He is at work and recognize that He is working in the very situations that we're up against. That He is changing us daily. His request of us is that we be His first love. That He be our first love. This lifestyle of seeking God out daily and purposely can and will change your life. I was truly taught this lifestyle by my stepmother, Susan, who's here today. And after she came into our broken family during my high school years, she mended so many wounds with her love. See, it wasn't then that she taught me how to look for God's love daily, but rather it was in her darkest hours when she was diagnosed with multiple myeloma, which, for those of you that don't know, is a type of bone cancer that eats from the inside out, and there's really no known cure at the time, just the hope of remission. Susan was given 3 months to a year to 3 years to live. Though the odds of the world were stacked against her, she looked for God and found that she could trust. Through every step of this battle, Susan had to make a choice of what each day was going to look like. She could have laid back and allowed the situation to take her by default, but instead she sought out God daily and recognized that He was working in the very situation she was up against. Everything about Susan's life changed to the tune of where God was at work. And not just that tune, but the anthem carried over into our family. And now today, as a family, we thank God for the blessing of remission He has brought to this disease. Listen to this. If you remember nothing else from me speaking today, remember that no matter how confusing the world in which we were born into, or how backwards we feel or say things are, no matter how many of your plans fail, no matter how dark the day may seem, realize that God is still in control. Amen. He began everything, and He has left nothing up to chance. He has left nothing off His guard. Not the events of this year, not the events of today, and not the events of tomorrow. Your final year of high school has been quite a roller coaster, I'm sure. Life has had its tragedies, cries, and unexpected curves. But no matter how difficult it gets, God is in control. Nothing that has happened has caught God off guard. Before our time here is finished, I want to give you some tips that have altered my plans in amazing ways since graduation. First and foremost, on the behalf of all your loved ones that surround you today, I want to make the charge and encourage you, as I know that they would, to be faithful. Be faithful with your studies. Be faithful with your job. Be faithful with your commitments. Be faithful with your spouses. Be faithful with a little just as you would be faithful with a lot. Be faithful in every aspect of your lives so that when others see you, they see Jesus. Listen every day faithfully for a fresh word from God. He'll speak to you if you just pause and listen. Jesus tells you that we know exactly what God is doing by looking at His Word, by listening to His Spirit. John 16:13 says this, "The Spirit of truth will guide you in all truth. He will speak only what He hears, and He will tell you what is yet to come." Faithfully search for a place of ministry where you can get plugged in. Find a place where you can minister, a place where you can grow, develop, and continue to touch lives. I'm going to tell you, it has been a blessing for me to be involved in several of your lives through the years past. having the opportunity to watch you grow and embrace God during YFCA and Collide and other youth activities. It's just been amazing to see how God is at work in your life. And I and those around you cannot wait to see where your faith will lead you to. With that said, it brings me to my second tip, and that is know that you are loved. You are so valuable to God, and you're valuable to the people that sit around you today in this room. Soon you will have the opportunity to stand, to look into the faces of your families, your school teachers, your pastors, your youth leaders, and all those that have been behind you every step of the way. Recognize you do not graduate alone today. The Lord God, through His abundant love, has given each of these people the opportunity to invest themselves into you. And they did that with the Lord's help. They have been Christ unto you. Remember that. And thank them for all that they have done for you. And finally this, seek wisdom from the wise. At this point in life, it's my hope that you acknowledge that you don't have everything figured out. I would hope that we're all on the same page with that. But recognize that there is much to learn, firstly from God, the giver of all wisdom, and then from those who have been given His great wisdom. Proverbs 12:15 says, "The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but a wise man is he who listens to counsel." Always remember to never be afraid to ask questions, but listen closely. Don't dismiss counsel when it's given. For where there is no guidance, the people fall. But in abundance of counselors, there is victory. As you enter into this new phase of your life, we pray that God will give you wisdom, understanding, and direction regarding decisions that you will need to make. And also that God will give you the moral courage and the stamina to live the kind of life that those around you will know you as a person of real integrity and high moral character. The kind of life that is sold out to God's plan. A life that when people see you, they see God's story. They see Jesus. Let us pray. Father in heaven, we thank you for today. We thank you for these graduates, Lord. It is a blessing to stand before them today, Lord, and just to allow your Spirit to speak through. Lord, I just ask just a blessing over them. Lord, as they walk out of this room, as they acknowledge all that you have done for them, Lord, that they would continue to look for you in every situation. That they would arise each and every day looking to engage you in the opportunities that you set before them. Lord, it's my prayer that they will be the next ministers, that they will be the next youth leaders, Lord, that they will be the next baccalaureate speaker, Lord. It is my prayer that they will spread your love. Lord, it's in everything that we do and everything that we say. We give you all the praise today. In your name we pray. Amen.